I'm Dr. Mark Hatala, and I want to welcome you to my office. I'm a cognitive scientist who studies time travel by replicating days from the past. And so everything that someone who was alive on a particular date would be exposed to, from early morning newspapers through late night television and everything in between. So the day we're talking about today is February 9th, 1964. It's my Paul McCartney imitation. And specifically, we're going to look at magazines which were targeted to the African American community. So Ebony and Jet. And so let's get started with Ebony. Now, Ebony was first produced in 1945, and it's the Johnson Company, John H. Johnson. This is Janie Burdett, and she's actually something of a regular in Ebony at this time. She's a model, and so every time they would do like a clothes pictorial, she was often portrayed in those. What Johnson was trying to do was create a life magazine for the African American community. And the articles in here are absolutely fascinating. My favorite, and so I'll post it below, is called The Birth of a Voter. And it's the story of the Reverend Joseph Carter and his attempt to register to vote. He was the first African American to register to vote in his Louisiana parish in 61 years. And he had tried to register the year before, and he was arrested by the police and held for over 13 hours, and he had to post a $200 bond just for trying to register to vote. And so it's very interesting to me that this is, this is recent history, and that this sort of thing happened in America. I think the other interesting aspect of this edition is the advertisements. And so they're very similar to the advertisements that we have today, but not for their time, because all of the models are African American. And so I think it's interesting to consider whether, if you updated clothes and hairstyles, whether these types of ads are what we still see today in print ads. Let's talk about Jet also. And featured on the cover is President Johnson, and that's Carl T. Rowan. He was the U.S. ambassador to Finland, and he had just been appointed to the National Security Council. What Jet was, and I should say too, Ebony was created in 1945, Jet in 1951. And what Jet was intended to be was a weekly digest of news that was occurring in the African American community that wasn't covered by mainstream media. And so there's some very interesting articles in here too. My favorite article is about a guy named Two Gun Pete, who was a Chicago police officer. And he said, "I was a police officer for 20 years, and then my wife let me have it." And so he was, I included a video too that was created by the Chicago Tribune, because Two Gun Pete was something of a legend in the African American community in Chicago, because he was a pretty brutal police officer, but people in the community appreciated the fact that he was no nonsense and locked people up pretty much constantly. And so you can read about it. He brags about the number of people that he's arrested and killed. There's also an article about a paternity suit against Ray Charles. It was brought by a young lady named Sandra Jean Betts, and she won. She won $125,000, and that's the equivalent inflation adjusted of about $1 million today. It's an interesting article, though, because it talks about Ray Charles's personal habits, and especially how much he loved television. And so he would have the television on all the time. He just absolutely loved listening to it. The last article is about Muhammad Ali, although at the time he was known as Cassius Clay. And he went to a dinner in Miami with Malcolm X, and there's even a poem in it too. And so it's, if you're a fan of Muhammad Ali, I certainly am. I think you might enjoy that one too. But I'll put links to all of these below so you can read them yourself. And why not come visit us at timetravelsimplified.com. And hey, buy my book. Beatles in America, February 9th, 1964, and become a time traveler yourself. It's guaranteed. Our motto is, it's time travel or it's free. If you could like and subscribe and share this video, that would be great too. I also have a link below to my account on Patreon if you'd like to support my continued research. And otherwise, have a great day.